Okay, Shalom Akim, Kahalar Mla, Yahaba Shem Yahshua Bashan Hakodash, and double honors to the great and apostles, Thoudy How Thoudy Yahshua for the strength in order to make this video, and Yaratazar that you'll build up from it, and also edified, which means encourage from it. Edify means to encourage, and to actually edify means to build up, exhort means to encourage. So this is the part 2 to the other video where I said the prophets were seen as strange in the eyes of the world. So I need to continue with that part. So, because yesterday I got disturbed in the video at the end, that's why I had to end it so abruptly. But nevertheless, this is the part 2 to that video, and I was going to talk about Abraham as well. So Genesis 11. Let me actually get to the chapter. Hold on. This is Genesis 11 and verse 26. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. So Terah being the father of Abram, and Abram was the previous name of Abraham. So that's what that means there. Abraham's father was Terah. And he had 2 other brothers. One was Nahor and Haran, the 2 other brothers of Abraham. So this is verse 27 now, Genesis 11 and 27. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran begat Lot. So Lot was actually the son of one of the brothers of Abraham. So it says, so you can say a son-in-law, if that's even something, if that's the right way to say it. Or rather, nephew, one could say. Yeah, nephew is the right way to say it. So now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran begat Lot. And Haran died before his father, Terah, in the land of his nativity. In the of the Chaldees, so in the city of the Chaldees. And if you actually go to the root word for the of the Chaldees, actually means flame. And what that is referring to is really the core, it's like a hotspot or the main part of the city within the Chaldees, man. So let me get the actual root word and we could get down to the meaning. So Genesis 11 and verse 28, which is the key part I wanted to read. So Genesis 11 and 28, and Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity, in of the Chaldees. So now let's get into the root word of So you are Alright, so Haran, where is it? So for in the root word, again, if you want to do this yourself, I showed this in a previous video. In terms of getting the root word here. Hold on, let me show you something. Normally you have to just type Blue Letter Bible, on Google. You click on it, that's going to send you to the website. Then you type up your scripture. You type up your scripture yourself there, on that the search box, you could say, that one right there, where it says verse to word. That's the box they type in. So you type Genesis 11 and 28, for example. And let's say you're at Genesis 11 and 28. Hold on. Genesis 11 and verse 28, as you can see here. Then you click on tools, because of course you got to be able to do these things yourself, so that you yourself can also study the root words of the meanings. Because when you understand the root meaning of words, then you truly understand something, the scriptures here. Which of course certain times it's like you got to get the breakdown officially from the apostles, while other times you can get the understanding easily just from getting to the root word, which the apostles always go into the root words, but they clarify whether the blue letters going off or they're not going off. Right, so what word? Yeah, I said of the Chaldees. So as you can see here, when you click tools, and then you know the options there. You click interlinear, as you can see right there, interlinear. And when you click interlinear, you scroll down. Then let's say we're looking into the word as you can see here on the last run. It's the last one right there. The of the Chaldees. So in this row right here, what I'm gonna press is that H2.
Strong's H218. Or.
So that's Strong's H218. When I click on H218, when I click on it, it's then gonna get me to the root word and the meaning. And that's when you're gonna see brothers actually reading the outline of the biblical usage, the Strong's definition, and sometimes even the Brown's Driver Briggs lexicon. You know, so the meaning is there. You know, so let me show you something. Yeah, as you can see, the outline of biblical usage. You know, Strong's definition is typically the parts that you hear brothers bring out, man. So that's if you want to do your own, you know, studying as well to get into the actual meaning of words. You know, because you may have like a certain word, and then in the context of it, you don't really understand it. Then you have to go to the Greek word in the New Testament, the root Greek word in the New Testament, or you get to the root Hebrew word in the Old Testament. So, which is in the modern Hebrew, of course. So, getting back to the point though, so in the Genesis 11:28, the root word or ur, I think that's how we pronounce it. Let me just play it again.
Strong's H218. Or.
Yeah, so it's that Ur. So Ur of the Chaldees, and Ur means flame. And he also says in another meaning, it says city in southern Babylonia, city of the Chaldeans, center of moon worship, home of Abraham's father, Terah, and departure point for the Abraham's migration to Mesopotamia and Canaan. So it says the city of southern Babylonia, the city of the Chaldeans, and center of moon worship, man. So it says it's the center, so it's like it's a core city. That's what was. You know, was a core city, man, and it makes sense because when you think about flames as well, the how can I say this? The flame is actually when that flame is representative of heat, and of course where there's heat, that's where there's a lot of energy there. You know, and in the context here, what I'm trying to say is the fact that it says it's the center city, and it says the center of moon worship, which I'm gonna get to that as well. It said the city of the Chaldeans. It means that it's one of the core cities, man. You know, so that's what it says there. When means flame as well, so you can say it as like the hot point of the city. You can say the hot point of southern Babylonia, just to have that further understanding. So that was one of the main cities there. You know, many people there, but point was that it says here center of moon worship, man. So this is the precursor to why Abraham needed to get out of there, because you know there were just idols there was idol worship that was going on there, and then the Most High Yahweh wanted to separate him from the idol worship. So I'm gonna read on now. So now you know it says Ur of the Chaldeans, Ur of the Chaldees is the center of moon worship. You know, it's the city of southern Babylonia. I remember that's the place of moon worship, man. So verse 29, it says, and Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wives was Sarai, aka Sarah, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, and the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Iscah. But Sarah was barren, she had no child, and Terah took Abram his son, and Lot with the son of Haran, and Lot the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarah his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Now it says, hold on, because of course you got one Haran as well, of which was the son of Terah. And you got another Haran being the place. Let me even check as well. Let me just check in the in the blue letter as well, because from the way it's being read, it's as though Haran is the name of the son of Terah and also a name of a place. So I'm gonna just get to the blue letter to see the root meaning. And moments like this is when you gotta use that technique that I then showed you, man. So it says here, hold on. So when you get into Genesis chapter 11 and 32, where it says, and Terah died in Haran, if you go to the root word Haran, which is what I'm doing right here, it pronounces it as this in the root
Strong's H2771. Haran. Haran.
Yeah, so Haran, meaning, it says in the outline of biblical usage, Haran meaning mountaineer. It says a son of Caleb by his concubine Afar. That's in another part of the scriptures. But Haran meaning a mountaineer. It says in the third one, it says the city to which Abraham migrated when he left Ur of the Chaldees, and where he stayed until his father died before leaving for the promised land, located in Mesopotamia, in Pandan Aram, at the foot of Mount Masius, between Kabul and Euphrates. So the key part says it's the city to which Abraham migrated when he left Ur of the Chaldees. So Haran, when it mentioned in where is it? When it mentioned in verse 26 to verse 27, it says, in Genesis 11 and 26 to 27, where it says, and Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran was actually named, was actually the son of Terah. And you could even say he was even named after the city called Haran. Because we know in verse 32, if you go into the root word of Haran, which is Haran, it says, which means mountaineer, but it also says the city to which Abraham migrated when he left the Ur of the Chaldees. And as you know, he migrated there because it mentions it here where it says, and Terah, in verse 31, and Terah took Abram, his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, so now that's talking about the person, his son's son, and Sarah, his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees. So that's when they departed from it, from the place of moon worship. So the Most I wanted to separate them from that stuff, to go into the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. So when it says they came unto Haran, that's talking about the place now, the city now, not the person. So that's just to clarify that. One Haran, the son of Terah, one Haran was a city, was a physical place. So that's clarity, man. But yeah, the point is that the Most High wanted to separate Abraham from the Ur of the Chaldees, which was the place of a center point of moon worship. So now let me read chapter 12 now. I think I'm going to read the whole chapter from the looks of it and break it down. So Genesis 12 and 1. Now the Lord Yahweh has said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. So the Most High Yahweh wants to separate him, as I said. Reason by, you could perceive it because of the Ur of the Chaldees, as we went to the root word for Ur, was actually the city that was the center of moon worship. And that's said in the blue letter, man, which goes into the root word or. You are. So verse 2, Genesis chapter 12 and 2, and I will make of thee a great nation. I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless thee, I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed as the Lord Yahweh has spoken unto him, and Lot went with him, Salakia, and Lot went with him, and Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. So that was his age. Abraham was 75 years old, man. So verse 5, and Abram took Sarah, his wife, and Lot, his brother's son, and all their substance, all their possessions that they owned, all the livestock and whatnot, and resources that they gathered, all their substance that they gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. Let's talk about the physical place now. Because remember, Haran died in the previous chapter, man, before Terah even died. So Haran, it says, and had gotten into Haran, the place, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came, and Abram passed through the land unto the place of Sichem, unto the place of Moreh, and the Canaanite was then in the land. And the Lord Yahweh appeared unto Abram and said, unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar, and there builded he an altar unto the Lord Yahweh, who appeared unto him. He removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west and Hai on the east. Yeah, Salakia, man. Let me just close the window first to see if it actually makes a difference. At least that would dampen the sound. So, you can still hear it because it's loud construction. It's very close by. Right. So, where was that verse? Let's start from verse 8. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west and Hai on the east. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord Yahweh, and called upon the name of the Lord Yahweh. And Abram, which again is the previous name of Abraham, Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south, and there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there. He made a journey there, for the famine was grievous in the land. It was very severe, very painful as well. But remember, grievous also means painful, so you can liken it unto severe. So it says in verse 11, and it came to pass when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarah his wife, behold, now I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon, which means she had that beauty. Men would be attracted to her if they saw, her appearance. Now it says in verse 12, therefore it shall come to pass when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, this is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. So, because as the age-old rule, man. That's why, another example was the reason why David killed the husband of, I think, Bathsheba. That was her name, if I recall correctly. When they were in a battle, man, put him in the front line so they can die easily, so that he would be able to take Bathsheba to be his wife, man. Which obviously that was under wrong intention to do. It didn't happen by natural means. It did not happen by that. And nevertheless, it was an evil thing that he did, man. So of course that's written for our learning too. So the same way here, that's why the Egyptians as well, you can liken it onto that type of situation where it says, therefore in verse 12, so Genesis 12 and verse 12, therefore it shall come to pass when the Egyptians shall see thee, because of her beauty, Sarah's beauty, that they shall say, this is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive, so that they can deal with her. So that would be a very, very unfortunate situation. That's why the Most High put that spirit of discernment upon Abraham, man. Or else it would be by another means that Israel would then have to come through. But the point is, the Most High put that spirit of wisdom and discernment upon Abraham. So verse 13, so I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. So he was telling Sarah, okay, just be my sister in this situation right now. That's what Abraham was telling Sarah, and in that day, so that he can then be protected too, man. Which is all by the Most High's will, anyways. So, and it came to pass that when Abram was come into Egypt, so Sarah was just in that disguise of being his sister. That was the perception. Now it says verse 14, and it came to pass that when Abram was come into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman, that she was very fair, which means men noticed her. The Egyptian men noticed her, Abram's wife, Sarah. But of course, you're going to see later on, this came at a cost. So the princes also of Pharaoh saw her and commended her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house because of her beauty. Imagine that. And he entreated Abram well for her sake. So of course they then gave Abram a special treatment. When I say special treatment, I'm talking about they probably gave him food and things to comfort him, to basically make a man smile. When I say make a man smile, more so in terms of resources and all that. It says, and he had sheep and oxen and he asses and men servants and maid servants and she asses and camels. So of course, these princes of Pharaoh, they had a lot of resources. So it says, and the Lord Yahweh plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarah, Abram's wife, man. The scriptures talk about don't look at another man's wife lustfully, man. So of course this was even prior to the commandments there, but you already know that people, of course, already knew these things really prior to the establishment amongst Israel. But of course it began with Abraham, and hence why we say the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's the point. So really, it's that the law was already known, but it wasn't fully established, like they're clear for the nation of Israel. But Israel was gonna come at a later point. So it says, and the Lord Yahweh plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarah, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, what is this that thou hast done unto me, and why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? Of course he wouldn't tell you that Sarah's the wife, or else you would have killed him. You would have killed him. So why wouldn't he of course lie that thing that Sarah was his sister? Of course it's just for his own well-being. You need to get food and get out of there. So it says, why sayest thou, she is my sister, so might I have taken her to me to wife? Now therefore behold thy wife, take her and go thy way. So the Pharaoh saying, all right, just take your wife and go. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away with his wife and all that he had. So of course, substance and resources. So the point is, they would have perceived Abram as a strange guy, man. Because why are you talking about your wife like that being your sister? And that brought upon plagues upon them because they were looking at her lustfully. So they didn't really have any discernment there, man. But nevertheless, that's just another example of a man of whom would have been seen as strange, back in that day. But really, it's for those who have understanding, you'll be able to perceive why he moved in that way, it was a wise move. Or else, man, it could have been his death, as Abraham mentioned, man, in Genesis chapter 12. So let's get another one, Yaratazar, then probably close after this one. There's many prophets of old were seen as strange, man. Even the things that they did would have been seen as strange unless you had the understanding for why they did it. Then you won't see it as strange anymore. You have to have the understanding. Alright, come on now. to 2 Corinthians. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 18, starting from verse 18. It says, seeing that many glory after the flesh, I will glory also. Verse 19, for ye this is Paul speaking, by the way, just to get some context. Corinthians typically refers to him and him going to the church of Corinth. He had the Thessalonica. He had the Galatians, Galatia. That was the word Galatia. And that was when Paul was journeying from place to place, man. To preach the word to different churches. So, continue with the point. 2 Corinthians 11 and 19, for ye suffer fools gladly, seeing ye yourselves are wise. And that's really what we are supposed to do. We may look dumb as we're preaching, which again, we're fools for Yahweh's sake. But at the end of the day, we know that we got the true wisdom, we got the utmost wisdom beyond this world, man. The reason why I say beyond this world, because we believe in things of which are actually beyond this world, beyond the understanding of this world. For example, the chariots. We believe in the angels protecting us as well. We also believe in Yahweh coming to save us too. We believe also that we know what's going to happen in the future, which is really the World War III happening, and it's guaranteed. That's how much faith that we have. When you have faith to the point where you just know it's going to happen, that's a super high level of faith. And we know it because of our Ruach Kodesh, the Holy Spirit, that makes us understand these scriptures. Again, of course, through our apostles as well, our elder brothers of whom teach us. Hence why we give double honors. That's referring to 1 Corinthians 5 and 17, where we give double honors unto the elders of whom are still laboring, man. And they literally are laboring. Apostle Tahar, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Rahal, Apostle Ramla, man. They're all still laboring in this truth. That's why we give double honors as well. And we learnt from them. So anyways, point is that I was talking about prophecy, innit? The point is that sometimes the point just goes out of your head and then you gotta try and remember. But so prophecy, we know the prophecies, and of course this will be seen as beyond the understanding of this world. We know what's going to happen in the future, and that will be seen as beyond the understanding of this world. We know that the things of the spiritual affect the physical far more than physical things affecting the physical. So that's why we suffer fools gladly, because what we know is far beyond the comprehension of this world, and what we are is far beyond the power of this world as well, through the Spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. So, and that also is referring to the scripture where it says, ye are gods, but ye shall die as men. And many scriptures of that sort, such as ye are more than conquerors. And that's the mindset that we have, because we know that Yahweh Shem Yahshua is a power that cannot be limited, man. So we have nothing to really fear. We can't fear man, because we know Yahweh Shem Yahshua is the one who controls the spirit. That's why Yahweh is called Father of Spirits. But let's continue. So for ye suffer fools gladly, seeing ye yourselves are wise. 2 Corinthians 11 and 20. It says, for ye suffer if a man bring you into bondage, if a man devour you, if a man take of you, if a man exalt himself, if a man smite you on the face. And where it says, for ye suffer if a man bring you into bondage, suffer means to allow something to happen. So if a man bring you into bondage, if a man devour you, if a man take of you, if a man exalt himself, if a man smite you on the face, you just allow these things. You suffer it, you allow it, because at the end of the day, Yahweh Shem Yahshua will intervene. That's the point. So we just suffer these things. So it says, I speak as concerning reproach, as though we had been weak, howbeit, whereinsoever any is bold, I speak foolishly. I am bold also. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they Israelites? Salakia. Salakia means forgive me as well. So it's like saying sorry. So are they Hebrews? Because I made a mistake. Are they Hebrews? So this is 2 Corinthians 11 and 22 now. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. So of course that already shows you right there, man, that the gospel really is for the so-called Israelites, to be more specific. The descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that's who he was really preaching to, man, which, to even be more specific, is really to gather the elect of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So anyway, which is among the ruling governing body of Israel. So are they ministers of Hamashiach Yahushua? I speak as a fool. I am more in labors. I am more in labors more abundant. So, the works of the scriptures, the works of the ministry of Yahushua, he's more abundant in straps above measure, in prisons more frequent, in deaths often. Of the Jews, 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. Thrice was I beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. A night and a day I have been in the deep, journeying often, in perils of waters, in perils of robbers, in perils by my own countrymen, in perils by the heathen, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren, in weariness and painfulness, in watchings often, in hunger and thirst, in fastings often, in cold and nakedness. Besides those things that are without, that which cometh upon me daily, the care of all the churches. And that was the responsibility of Paul. Hence why, he was going to different churches, man. You have to, of course, preach unto them and teach them the right way to do things, straighten them out. Who is weak and I am not weak? Who is offended and I burn not? I must needs glory. I will glory. If I must needs glory, I will glory of the things which concern mine infirmities. So all those listings there of the pains that he went through, the sufferings he went through, those are the examples of his infirmities, man. Things that had to go, the perils in the water, the robbers, of course, having to endure false brethren, getting whipped by the Jews, 5 times save one. 5 times receiving 40 stripes, and many other things, man. All of this, he's growing in those infirmities, which is really just his servitude towards Yahweh Shem Yahushua, what he's willing to go through. So Paul was a major example, man. And then, even just thinking about that alone, Israelites would think that who would want to go through that, man? That would be seen as strange, because it's not a common thing to see a man of whom is willing to suffer like that for Yahushua. It's not everyone that's willing to suffer like that for Yahushua. So that's why, prophet such as Paul himself, of course, would have been seen as strange. So that's another aspect of strange. In the part 1, I mentioned about John, the Baptist, in terms of how he looks, being strange. Now I mentioned about Abraham, in terms of how he reasons, being strange, which is all through the wisdom of Yahweh